Hi, everyone. I am wishing everyone, certainly in the United States, we know we have an international audience. Everyone in the United States, I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I love Thanksgiving. It is, my only issue with it is it gets here so quickly after Halloween. We have Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, and Halloween seems like it takes a little bit to get here, and then wham, Thanksgiving's here. And I wanted to get the family out, but yeah, you just have to stay. And when I stay in, I eat, I drink, I'm horizontal on the couch. There's better ways to live your life, so I'm trying to get out there. I was supposed to go to Yucatan in Mexico. We'll push that off for another day. Also want to wish happy Hanukkah to the wonderful Jewish audience that we have here on the Soccer OG. We love everyone here, and you're all welcome. Not a great weekend in football. I mean, there were some good games in Italy. I loved seeing the Napoli result and what they were able to do with the Diego Maradona statue. It's Maradona, we lost him a year ago. Premier League, Messi did okay, but not much. It was kind of a flat weekend. So we're going to talk about something a little bit. Oh, we should mention the Mls Cup Playoffs, which were very interesting. Real Salt Lake, who are historically one of the worst road teams in MLS, under the watch of Pablo Mastroeni, American legend, World Cup playing legend, have won games in Seattle and have without one shot on target, and then beating Sporting Kansas City, where they overwhelmed SKC at their place in the second half. So Real Salt Lake are into the conference finals. Philadelphia are into the conference finals after Nashville missed 4 straight penalties. We're going to call Nashville Music City. We're going to call it Mist Penn City. Diddle-diddle-diddle-diddle-diddle in the honky-tonks. But we're going to talk about the World Cup playoffs, what it means for CONCACAF, what it means for Uefa. We have these really intriguing tournaments that we've talked about in the past going to come up here in 2022, which kind of expands, as I've said in the past, expands the World Cup. These 12 European teams, these teams that finish 4th or 5th in many regions, now get a little stake of the World Cup, a little one. So I kind of like that idea, but we're going into a new era of the World Cup where everyone's invited, which I don't hate, but I do like the process very much. And I'm going to really hang on to these moments because these tournaments are going to be good, and we're going to break them down here. Star Wars mug. On the Soccer OG. New Soccer OG podcast coming out Monday. I will be joined by Kai Kamara, true American Sierra Leonean. I know I butchered that. From Sierra Leone. And we are going to talk about his trajectory and what he might be doing moving forward because he might be getting into this business. Real interesting guy. So check out the Soccer OG podcast where all podcasts are available. And please like and subscribe here. Let's go. We have a big year ahead. And look out for the SOG Awards. I haven't named them, but the awards are coming out. We're going to have an award show, an extravaganza. But let us get into the playoffs. We'll start with, as it applies to CONCACAF, you have the Interconfederational Playoffs, where it'll be June the 13th or 14th in Qatar. Yes, summer in Qatar. So after avoiding the summer months in Qatar, 4 teams are going to go right into the Lion's Den in June. So you're going to have the 4th place team from CONCACAF. They will face Oceania, which is in all likelihood New Zealand. Maybe Tahiti, maybe Vanuatu, maybe the Solomon Islands. Oceania, before I go any further, deserve a spot in the World Cup, even though they're going to get crushed. They deserve a spot in the World Cup. It's just a strange region. Australia was in it. It was a nice region there because you had Australia and New Zealand. Australia went to Asia. Turned out to be a real wise move. I don't think they've missed a World Cup since moving that direction. They might be part of this playoff. So it's going to be CONCACAF 4th place team versus Oceania. And then it's going to be the Asian team that finishes 5th versus the 5th place team from South America. So from a CONCACAF perspective, this is great because you avoid the South American team. That's who you wanted to avoid. And really you wanted to avoid the Asian team too, because it could be Japan or it could be Australia. In my estimation, it's going to be one of those two. I'm pulling for Lebanon. Saudi Arabia almost have clinched the World Cup spot, Korea and Iran are in. It doesn't say they're officially in the World Cup, but they are in. Japan, Australia are the teams that seem like it will be there. So you have a nice tournament. Could be, let's just say it's Japan. Japan versus Uruguay. Japan versus Colombia. I think it's going to be Chile. And then it's going to be, say, New Zealand versus Mexico, Panama, USA, Canada. And I think all four of those CONCACAF teams would be favorite, to a lesser degree Panama, but far be it for me to underestimate Panama or any of you two. They have been fantastic. And we're going to talk about them here in a moment. But that's a fun playoff. Single legs in June. One win and you're in. It's that simple. So South America, I'm going to focus on CONCACAF, but South America, Brazil and Argentina are in. Ecuador's likely in. And then Colombia's at 7, Ecuador's at 23 points. Colombia's 17, Peru 17, Chile 16, Uruguay 16, Bolivia 15. We can't consider Bolivia because they don't win away from home. I look at the goal differentials. Ecuador's got a plus 10, and that's why they are comfortably in third and going to make it. Colombia's got a -1, Peru a -5, Chile a -1, Uruguay a -7. Washington, Tavares out. I think Diego Alonso is going to be the man in charge now. Forgive me, I don't know that off the top of my head. But I don't think Uruguay is going to make the fifth. I think it's going to be Colombia fourth. And I think Chile, based on goal differential, I look at these things. I look at teams that have been consistent throughout. Chile have really picked it up on the back end. I think they finish fifth. So, Japan, Chile, New Zealand, and I'll say Panama. But this is the problem with CONCACAF and what has developed for the United States, Mexico, or Canada. Because one of these teams, if they get a bad patch, if they hit a speed bump or two, they're heading to the playoffs. What Canada and the United States and Mexico were hoping to see is Panama struggle the same way Costa Rica and Jamaica and El Salvador and Honduras have. But Panama hasn't. Panama's won games on the road. Panama's come back to win games. So, in the standings, you have Canada at 16, USA 15, Mexico 14, Panama 14. And then you go down to Costa Rica at 9. I don't think Costa Rica or Jamaica are going to be able to creep back in there. I like Jamaica a lot, but it's just, the gap is pretty big after 8 games. You have 6 games. So, right off the bat, you are 7 points back, so you need to win 2 and Panama lose 2 just to pull up within a point. So I'm pretty sure it's that top 4. So the problem for USA, Mexico, and Canada, we have to include the United States in here. It's going to get a little harder here for them, although their next window should be favorable with the 2 home games. You just don't want to finish 4th. And Panama's there going, we don't want to finish 4th either. We can finish in the top 3. Very well coached. Second cycle developing, good young players coming through. And look, the fact that New Zealand is the opponent should be great relief for everyone in the U.S., for everyone in Mexico. Because it's not far-fetched that either one of those two, or Canada, who have been fantastic and the most consistent team in the region, finishes in 4th. All 4 of those teams should be able to beat New Zealand. And I feel so bad. I know many Kiwis. I love New Zealand, greatest rugby nation in the world, one of the best cricket nations in the world. It's very small island, right at the bottom of the world. And I'm not saying that as an insult. Look at a map. It's isolated, even more so with COVID. You know, Australia and New Zealand, very, very strict restrictions with regards to COVID. That has to take a toll on the sports and the athletics. And New Zealand's in that region, and it's got to be so difficult to travel to Papua New Guinea and the Solomon Islands and Tahiti. Well, maybe not Tahiti. Maybe that would be nice. But to play, and these are going to be no infrastructure, dilapidated resources. There's no money in there. New Zealand's trying. New Zealand probably should do what Australia did. But Oceania should be absorbed by Asia. And then you have a little qualifier. But, we shouldn't waste too much time arguing about this because it's going to be different. And Oceania in the 2026 World Cup will have a spot, which is the right thing to do. New Zealand, was it 2010? And they played well, but they just don't have it. They have some good English-based players. I just don't see how they could possibly be prepared for a matchup against a CONCACAF team, which is improving by leaps and bounds. And it's going to get better because CONCACAF is hosting the World Cup in 2026. That is why it is extremely important that with this gift, that CONCACAF gets 4 teams in the World Cup to set the table for 2026. Let's get Panama in there. Maybe it's better if Mexico did this in the past. Remember Sanssouci in 2014 where they finished in that playoff position, beat New Zealand over 2 legs. The lack of travel with a single leg certainly helps New Zealand, but Mexico would be just too much. USA would be too much for New Zealand. Panama's the one you kind of have to worry for, all due respect. But this is the idea. Get 4 teams so that 2026 you have this huge showcase. Panamanian soccer's on the up and up. Costa Rica and Honduras, El Salvador, their cycles will start developing. And then obviously Jamaica, and maybe we'll see Trinidad and Tobago and some other countries, finally reach another level. CONCACAF is going places, folks. This is a region that is really improving and hopefully can grab that after a tough 2018 where they had 3 teams and only Mexico made the round of 16. This was after 2014 where Mexico, USA, Costa Rica made the round of 16. Costa Rica made the quarterfinals, getting back on the tracks. So that's how it stands for CONCACAF. I wanted to talk a little bit about Uefa. This tournament in March is going to be unbelievable. It's basically a Euros tournament. You have 3 spots remaining, 12 teams playing for those 3 spots. It's a bit of a convoluted tournament. And obviously the big storyline, as you've already heard, Italy and Portugal in the same group. Let's take a look really quickly. There you see it. Scotland, Ukraine, Wales, Austria in the first bracket. Russia, Poland, Sweden, the Czechs in the next. Italy, North Macedonia, Portugal, and Turkey. So it's 4 semifinals. Winners move on. This is teams that are seeded get to play at home. So Scotland's seeded. They'll play in Glasgow and Hampden Park. Wales is going to play in Cardiff. Russia, Sweden, Italy, Portugal are home teams. Home teams are expected to win here. And everyone's upset that, hey, there's no room for Italy or Portugal. There's only going to be room for 1. Stop it! Stop whining! As Arnold Schwarzenegger said so famously in Kindergarten Cop. Did you steal everybody's lunches? Stop it! Come on. Like, am I going to lose sleep that Cristiano Ronaldo's not in the World Cup? Absolutely not. I've said this in my World Cup video, which I posted a week ago. Check it out. I want a World Cup. I don't need to see a Euros. I want a World Cup. I don't want 4 semifinalists that are all UEFA. That's no fun. I'll see that for Europe. So if it comes at the cost of Italy or Portugal being knocked out, so be it. So be it. Look, they had their chance to qualify, and they missed it. They're getting a second chance. Not everyone gets a second chance. South America, they don't get a second chance. Well, one of them does. Africa, no second chances. You're getting a direct second chance because you weren't good enough, finishing, in Portugal's case, behind Serbia. And this is on you. They're lucky to have a second shot. As I look through that bracket, though, the first grouping, I like Ukraine. I like their players. I like the league there. I like what I saw in the Euros. But Scotland has them at home. And Scotland, with guys like John McGinn and Che Adams and Andrew Robertson, who's maybe my favorite fullback on the planet right now. I mean, I love people who can cross a ball in. He can cross a ball. Young Billy Gilmore, under the guidance of Steve Clark. Scotland's done their cycle. They're ready. And we all know what a World Cup would be like with Scotland. Granted, in Qatar, they're going to have to be a little more creative with finding bars and the such. But I think Scotland, that's the coin flip. Scotland will play I'm going to say Austria. David Alaba and some of the good attacking players we saw in the Euros would be there. Russia, Sweden. The finals, we don't know where the venue's going to be at. The first round is March 24th, and then the finals will be March 29th. So I like Russia, Sweden. I like all the seeded teams, and Italy and Portugal. People like the Turks. It's hard to get the stink of the Euros out when you're talking about Turkey, even though they did very well in qualifying. Russia's a team that's made the last two World Cups. Granted, they hosted one. They were ahead of Slovakia and Slovenia, 1 point behind Croatia. That's a good team. Sweden probably should be in the World Cup. Russia, Sweden is fascinating. Scotland, Austria, or Scotland, Wales, fascinating. And we need the British. I love the British teams in there. The Tartan Army. We love the Tartan Army. Good music, good booze. And then Italy, Portugal. My goodness. We're not getting one of these teams in the World Cup, but we're getting these teams playing each other to make the World Cup. You won't get a better game for either one of those two in the World Cup. Italy and Portugal for a spot. Sign me up. They didn't deserve to be in there. They're lucky to get this chance. So in closing, I'm going to go. I had Ukraine initially. I'm switching it to Scotland. Scotland, Sweden, and the Italians. And Cristiano Ronaldo, we saw his last World Cup then. He's not going to be back in 2026. So the last time we saw him in a World Cup was 2018 when Portugal was knocked out by Uruguay. That's the way it goes. The World Cup is not promised to everyone. But maybe Portugal gets in. It's still Portugal. They had a good qualifying run. I can't wait for these playoffs. The World Cup is starting earlier than we want. We have the November World Cup, but we have essentially World Cup games in March and in June. Enjoy them all. Check out the Soccer OG. Like, thumbs up city, baby. We know where that is. And please subscribe so we can continue to bring you the very best road trips and